The Ministry of Defence has confirmed it will sell the home of the Red Arrows display team. RAF Scampton has survived years of defence cuts, but the land will now be sold. Our correspondent Vicky Johnson is live outside RAF Scampton for us this lunchtime. Vicky, what has the MOD had to say this morning?
Well, it was in the past half an hour alone that the Ministry of Defence confirmed that RAF Scampton will close in 1922 and that the Red Arrows will be relocated to another base which they say will be more fit for purpose. Now, it's all part of a major reorganisation and streamlining of MOD bases right across the country. And of course, it's all about saving money, but they say they're going to be working closely with local planning officials to make sure that the sale of this base will be a benefit to the community and also to the MOD itself. But we've been talking to local people and it's clear their disappointment.
RAF Scampton has been a key airbase for more than a century, but there's been a question mark over its future for years. The then Defence Secretary failed to mention it during an interview back in 2016.
The RAF is going to be here in Waddington and Coningsby for a long time to come. It's always been an ideal place for the RAF to operate from.
Lincoln's festooned with banners celebrating 100 years of the RAF, so there was surprise and disappointment when we broke today's news to some of the shoppers. We wonder whether you'd heard the news this morning about RAF Scampton.
No, hadn't.
Closing.
Oh my goodness, why?
That means also that the Red Arrows...
Oh my goodness, they're my favourite. I watch them always. I watch them practising. No, we can't take those away, can we?
I think it's very sad actually, with the history of the base, with the 617 and the Dambleston history and now the Red Arrows base there. It's a shame that it's closing.
Just wondered whether you'd heard the news about RAF Scampton.
No.
It's going to close.
Oh, that's dreadful. What about the Red Arrows and everything then? Are they based there? No.
They are based there. They're going to have to be based somewhere else.
Right.
So what do you think about the news?
I'm astounded, actually.
Edward Lee, whose constituency includes RAF Scampton, says he's saddened by the announcement.
We're all very disappointed. This is an historic base. It was the home of the Dam Busters and the Vulcans. It's been a tremendous base for the Red Arrows. I'm extremely sorry to see it go. This is a technical decision taken by senior RAF officers. I'm afraid there's very little we can do about it, but I am working closely with West Lindsey and Lincolnshire County Council to get a bright future for the base.
Many people we've spoken to say they're not that surprised that the MOD is selling off the base, but they say that doesn't make the news any more welcome, especially in the RAF's centenary year.
Well, the news comes after years of questions over the future of RAF Scampton's famous residence, the Red Arrows. The closure may see them move away from the county, as Philip Norton reports.
The Red Arrows, seen by many as a Lincolnshire institution, having first moved to the county in the early 1980s. The big skies and open fields around Scampton provide the perfect training base. But a question mark now over where they'll go once their home here closes, and they could leave the county altogether.
Well, I can't see where they're going to go. They can't go to Waddington. Waddington has got so many other important things on there that it would be an absolute massacre of the airspace around it to have the Red Arrows there. They can't go to Coningsby, I think, because that's an extremely busy base, frontline base as well. They can't go to Cranwell, extremely busy there as well.
But it's not just the base that's been questioned in recent times. Doubts also raised over the future of the aerobatic display team itself. The Red Arrows association with RAF Scampton has been tinged with tragedy and sadness, with 3 deaths since 2011. Pilots Flight Lieutenant John Egging, Flight Lieutenant Sean Cunningham, and earlier this year, Engineer Corporal Jonathan Bayliss all lost their lives. The deaths raised questions about the safety of such high-risk manoeuvres and whether the financial costs and human risks associated with the Red Arrows are worth taking. A question mark too over the future of the Hawk aircraft the Red Arrows use. It's due to go out of service in 2030. Calls for the Ministry of Defence to bring the renewal of the fleet forward to save jobs at BAE Systems, which builds it, have so far fallen on deaf ears. But the Red Arrows are ambassadors for the Great Britain brand, touring the world and bringing millions of pounds of investment to the country. and a spectacle in the sky that delights so many every year. Philip Norton, BBC Look North.
Well, as we've been hearing, RAF Scampton has a rich history. It was once home to the 617 Squadron, who of course flew in the Dam Busters raids. Simon Spark has been looking back at the station's history.
Wing Commander Gibson VC, who led the Great Lancaster raid on the Ruhr Dams, escorts the King during a visit by their Majesties to an air station in the north of England.
If you think of RAF Scampton's history, maybe the first thing that comes to mind is how the Dam Busters raid flew out of here in May 1943, taking off along a grass runway before the base was closed to upgrade it. The mission cemented Scampton's name in RAF history as the base of the 617 Squadron. But actually Scampton is one of the RAF's oldest stations, and its history began way before this.
So this aircraft we have here is a Sopwith Camel, one of the finest fighters built in World War I, and it was this aircraft that was used at Scampton, known then as Brattleby, in defence of the Zeppelin attacks against this county. And as you can see, it was a massive machine and carried quite a large bomb load, and these came across Lincolnshire and the Midlands in fairly large numbers throughout 1916 and 17.
The squadron was airborne in a few seconds over...
In the Cold War of 1960, Scampton was on the front line, with the Vulcan bomber carrying Britain's nuclear deterrent. The runway was extended to 10,000 feet to accommodate these colossal aircraft. And of course it's known for being the home of the Red Arrows, who initially came here in 1983 until 1995, and then returned from RAF Cranwell in 2000 to the present day. They celebrated their centenary in 2016 and headlined the RAF 100 celebrations at the start of this month. Simon Spark, BBC Look North.